Some stories are so grand they feel like they belong to the stars. They stretch our understanding of what is possible. Imagine a man so wealthy, his generosity could break the economy of an entire nation. This is not a fable. This is the story of Mansa Musa, the king of the Mali Empire. His name echoes through the corridors of time, whispered alongside tales of immeasurable riches. He was a figure whose wealth was so vast, so beyond comprehension. Modern economists struggle to even put a number on it. He lived in a world we can barely imagine, a time when gold flowed like a river through the heart of West Africa. His legend is not just about gold, it is a story of faith, of power, and of a journey that put his empire on the world map forever. Before Mansa Musa, the great empires of West Africa were often mysteries to the wider world of Europe and the Middle East. They were lands of myth, rumored to hold mountains of gold. Mansa Musa, through a single spectacular act of devotion, would lift the veil. He would show the world that the stories were not only true, but they barely scratched the surface of the reality. His story forces us to look again at history, to see the vibrant, powerful civilizations that thrived beyond the familiar narratives. We often think of wealth in terms of numbers in a bank account or stocks on a market, but Mansa Musa's wealth was tangible, something you could see and touch. It was in the very soil of his kingdom. He ruled over lands that contained some of the richest gold deposits the world has ever known. This wasn't just a king with a large treasury. He was a king who commanded the source of wealth itself. His story challenges our modern perceptions of riches and power, asking us to consider a time when a single individual held a fortune that could dwarf the richest billionaires of today, combined. He was a king of kings, a ruler from a golden age. So who was this man? Where did he come from? How did one person accumulate a fortune so great it is still talked about nearly 700 years later? To understand the legend, we must first understand the man. We must travel back in time, to the 14th century, to the sprawling sun-drenched savannas of the Mali Empire. We must trace his rise from a prince to an emperor, a Mansa. His journey is a testament to the incredible history of Africa, a continent of ancient kingdoms and extraordinary leaders whose stories are only now being given the attention they have always deserved. Let us begin our journey into the life of the Golden King. So, how does one become the richest person in the history of the world? The answer for Mansa Musa lies beneath the ground. The Mali Empire was geographically blessed. It sat atop three of West Africa's most enormous goldfields, Bambouk Bourgalam. It produced more than half of the old world's gold. Mansa Musa didn't just have a lot of gold, he controlled the global supply. It was wealth he commanded from its very source, a river of gold into his treasury. The scale of this operation is hard to overstate. Gold was more than currency or jewelry, a symbol of divine right and imperial power. He was described holding a nugget so large only he could lift it. The gold was mined by his subjects and flowed into royal coffers as tribute and tax. But Mali's wealth wasn't just gold. The empire was a crossroads for trans-Saharan trade. Great camel caravans crossed the desert, connecting West Africa with North Africa, the Middle East, Europe. These caravans carried more than gold. Mali also controlled the vital salt trade. In West Africa's heat, salt was as precious as gold. It preserved food and kept people alive. The salt mines of Tagaza were under Mali's control. Caravans brought giant slabs of salt south to trade for gold and goods. Mansa Musa controlled both ends of this exchange. He mastered gold from the south and salt from the north. In 1324, Mansa Musa, a devout Muslim, decided to undertake the Hajj. This is the sacred pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, a core duty for all able-bodied Muslims. But this would be no ordinary journey. This was a pilgrimage fit for the richest king on earth. It was so large, so opulent, so breathtakingly golden. Mansa Musa set out from his capital as an emperor. He was about to put Mali on the map. His caravan was like a moving city stretching as far as the eye could see. Chroniclers say it included 60,000 people, soldiers for protection, officials to manage logistics, thousands of attendants and servants. His personal retinue, 12,000 people, all dressed in fine silks and brocades. And then, there was the gold. A train of 80 to 100 camels, each carrying up to 300 pounds of pure gold dust, not for trade, for charity, for gifts, to demonstrate the Mansa's boundless generosity. As this river of people and gold crossed the Sahara, its reputation preceded it. When the caravan reached Cairo, it caused a sensation. The Sultan of Egypt was stunned. Mansa Musa gave gold to the poor, to government officials, to religious scholars. He spent so freely in Cairo's markets and streets that he disrupted the regional economy. The massive influx of gold caused its value to plummet. A decade-long recession. He literally had enough gold to break the bank. His journey continued to Mecca, to Medina. There he gave lavish gifts. He sponsored construction of mosques and religious schools. His piety and generosity were spoken of from Spain to India. On the return, he passed through Cairo again. Seeing the damage, he tried to fix it. He borrowed back gold from merchants at exorbitant interest. It was the only time one man's actions controlled gold prices across the Mediterranean. His pilgrimage was more than a religious act, it was the greatest publicity tour in history. The journey to Mecca did more than just announce Mansa Musa's wealth to the world. It fundamentally changed him and his empire. On his way home, he brought back with him the brightest minds he could find. Scholars, architects, poets, scientists from across the Islamic world, especially Egypt and Andalusia. He was determined to make his kingdom the wealthiest on earth, and a leading center of learning, culture, and faith. This marked the beginning of a golden age for Mali. Under his patronage, a trading post became a legendary center of scholarship. He commissioned Abu Ishaq al-Sahili to build the Djinguereber Mosque, wide-shot Djinguereber Mosque. Detail of wooden beams and earthen walls. He established the University of Sankore, law, medicine, astronomy, theology libraries filled with hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. This flourishing was fueled by immense wealth. Gold paid for the architects, gold paid for scholars' salaries, gold paid for books and materials.